All right, we are live. I'm helping these guys get in. It looks like Restream is pulling some shenanigans, but I hope all is well with everyone. Just check chat. Let me know if you can hear me. All right. Let me see. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We'll see if we can get these guys in. Apparently, Restream is now making you add a hello. Thanks for being here. Man, what an exciting time to be in crypto. It's unbelievable. Late night last night. I'm tired. I'm tired from everything going on. I think after this chat with these guys, which I'm excited to have, I'm gonna not think about crypto until tomorrow or something. Hey Scott, thanks. I'll let some more people come in while we'll get these guys in. Not much is up. I mean, everything's up, everything's down. Who knows? I just told some friends that I officially have no idea what's going on in crypto. And the best thing about it is that it's the safest place for me to be because I don't make a move. I just sit. I just sit and watch. I mean, panic selling is not an option. That's definitely not gonna happen. And other times maybe I'd try to make moves and I buy in cheap. But right now I'm just gonna sit and watch and see what's going on. So I'll go ahead and start while I'm waiting for these guys. See if we can get this figured out with them. I want to explain quickly why it is that I'm doing this. Why I do this. I'm Hexkin. I sacrifice for PulseChain. I think the PulseChain is going to be the most amazing thing ever. But I also know, all right, looks like these guys are showing up here. But I also know that this is going to be a cakewalk. It's not going to be easy. There's a lot. This is 2021 going into 2022. There's a lot of interesting things that are happening in the space. And so I'm going to do what I can to at least talk about Hexican-led projects on PulseChain. In fact, I'm psyched to bring these guys on because I want to add a couple of questions that I hope add a different flavor to things, and we can get a little more of a, I don't want to say human side, but like the person side of this. Because when I started thinking about this, I started thinking like, if I was, as a Hexican, if I was going to develop a project or a product on top of Pulse, I would do it with all the normal Hexican principles, everything that we've learned about crypto, and I would just want a fair shot. Like, I just want people to listen. I mean, plain and simple. Like, I don't think that's too much to ask. And so, and this seems to be apparently this seems to be something that I guess some people aren't cool with. Maybe there's some OGs. I just found out like an OG that I was kind of bummed about recently unfollowed me, and I don't know if it was because of this or because of my PulseChain promo shenanigans. But I'm like, excuse me, sir, can while the rest of us are down here, you're already a millionaire. While the rest of us are down here trying to make you a billionaire, we might get a little, you might get a little degen on your shirt. Apologies, whatever. But either way, I'm just here talking about PulseChain. This is what I'm excited about. So I'm going to bring in Jesse the pit boss.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Jesse, and ToshiFlo. Yes, agree, Jeremiah. Besides the great product they're offering, these guys seem like really good, genuine dudes. So, guys, I want to what I want to do on this particular stream is, I'm not a long videos guy. Everyone likes my stuff, I think, because it's snackable. So if we can get in and get out and get like really good information, I think that would be awesome. And I know you guys have been answering a lot of the same. Hey, there he is. A lot of the same questions over and over again. I kind of gave you a little bit of a heads up of my interest in this, where I'm going with this. But to be honest, when I first heard ToshiFlo, I think when I first heard you talk about you did some other interview, and when I heard you talk about PulseChain, like I was, even before you got into discussing liquid loans, I was so moved because there's such obvious passion for what and excitement for what it is that we have going on. That's the potential with PulseChain. And so that, I mean, I was like, I'm going to keep listening to this dude. You guys were talking for 15, 20 minutes before you even got into your spiel. And I was sold already because I'm like, these guys are clearly HEXICANs. They're clearly excited about PulseChain, and I want to hear what they have, what they have going on. What I want to quickly go over is, can you hear me? Yeah, ToshiFlo, we lost him for a second there. So Jesse, can you hear me?
Yeah, I've got you.
Okay, perfect. So let's start, if you don't mind, and we'll let ToshiFlo come in when he comes back in. Give us a little bit about the why. Like why is it that you decided to do this? I mean, taking on a project like this is it's got to be brutal at times. I mean, you guys are getting energy in all the ways you can possibly get energy for launching a project on something that people are clearly so passionate about. What's the why for you all?
Well, for one, we got to look at the principles of what DeFi is all about. Cutting out the middleman, right? So most, even inside of DeFi, there's a lot of projects that have counterparty risk. They have admin keys that are not immutable. The developers can go in and change the code at any time. Outside of DeFi, you've got central exchanges that are prone to stealing everyone's money, scam wicking. Look what happened to Bitcoin just yesterday.
Man,
right?
Yeah,
Bitcoin was what, $64,000, and the exchange decided they were going to wick it down to I don't know, $8,500.
$8,200, and it was an algorithm error,
right? And literally steal everyone's money. Okay,
yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous, right? So conventional finance, what do the banks do? Banks take everyone's money, right? They're the ones that make money. You may be able to get a loan or some financing from a bank, but they're going to eat you with the fees. They're going to eat you on the interest rate. And just everybody everywhere just gets completely wrecked. All right. So you should have more options inside of DeFi or anywhere for that matter to do the things that you want to do with the money that belongs to you. We looked at a lot of different protocols out there. This one here has all the key ingredients to true decentralization, and really makes a community bank that's run by the people, completely algorithmically and decentralized. And that's why we're doing this, to cut out the middleman.
Got it. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And on that note, I did have one of my questions, and you sort of mentioned it, so I'll just bring it up. I told someone on Twitter I'd ask this. There seems to be some confusion. You're building on PulseChain, but there's this thing about a fork. Is it that you're using open source software for the lending functions? Can you tell us a little bit about the specific, maybe clear up any of that confusion of what's going on?
Yeah. So it's all Solidity code, which on most blockchains run the same code to create the protocols. Right. This one happens to be open source. There's a lot of open source code. Thousands and thousands of projects are open source Solidity code. So when you're looking to launch on a new blockchain, you do a fork. You copy the code and you build your own front end for it. That's exactly what we've done here. It's been done many times with this same protocol. There's at least one front end on many different blockchains. We are the lucky ones to be able to bring this to the PulseChain.
Cool. I mean, that makes perfect sense. And then the other question is, in terms of, there's no interest in doxing, but just getting to know you guys and your experience and what it is that you bring to the table in this particular project. I mean, in the VC world, you're investing in teams. Teams will turn something. They'll turn a product that doesn't get traction into something amazing because they know how to work together and they have what it takes. What can you tell us a little bit about your all's background and sort of where you're coming from with this?
Yep. So I am not a Genesis block Bitcoiner. So I got into crypto just a couple years ago. Prior to that, I was in the military. I was actually a Green Beret, a Special Forces guy in the U.S. Army. Moved on to a transportation company as management in a large transportation company. I'm also a pilot. But somewhere in there, I got into Bitcoin, and that evolved into some altcoins, and ultimately Hex. My first find of Hex and purchase of Hex was under a penny. I got hooked simply because it works. It's trustless. It's immutable. It simply runs and it works. The community is amazing. You find the community in Hex to be one that genuinely wants to help other people. I've not seen this anywhere else. You can't find this in Cardano. You can't find this in Solana or any of these other little token projects that are all over Ethereum. You don't see anything like it. It's absolutely amazing. So when Richard announced he was going to fork Ethereum and create his own blockchain for all the right reasons, right? Reduce the gas fees, make it faster, give a leg up to all the Ethereum users who are getting crushed with fees. It was a no-brainer to jump into that project. So I jumped headfirst into there to do what the Hex community does best: help onboard people, teach them how to safely store their crypto, teach them the right and wrong ways to crypto. What do the exchanges do that potentially could have them lose all their money, like we saw the other day with Bitcoin? I dove headfirst to do what HEXICANS do best. I think I have like 13,500 messages in the PulseChain Telegram, helping people. Now, during that adventure, and I still do that, by the way, but during that adventure, I kind of amassed a little community that we all came together. We've got getting close to a couple hundred people of the best and brightest contributors to the Hex and Pulse community. And we have our own Telegram page, and we have been brainstorming for months and months. How can we make blockchain better? What can we do to support PulseChain, right? Because Richard Hart can't do it by himself, right? He can build us a great chain. We've heard him say, if you want something, go build it. So there's a lot of different projects that are coming out of this this group that I'm speaking about. But we all collectively put our minds together and we say, all right, what can we do to make blockchain better? And that kind of evolved into where we're at today with liquid loans.
So I know we really just jumped into it, which I'm happy to do. Can you want to just do the quick elevator pitch of what liquid loans is? We probably should have started with that, but just tell us a little bit about it. And then, by the way, if there are any questions that people have, I've got a couple more, but just please pop them in a chat. And if you guys can see the chat here. If you've answered these already in a lot of different things, then I'll let you guys pick which ones. I don't want to bore you to death. But if there are questions that keep popping up, answer those. The frequently asked.
Sorry about the late join too. I had some technical difficulties over here.
All good. Glad you're here. So then, ToshiFlo, tell us. Just give everybody. Everybody who was excited for this. They know about you guys. I'm rest assured, and they probably watched some of the other stuff. That's why I'm trying to take a different angle in terms of the questions here. But just what's the quick elevator pitch of what liquid loans is, and then we'll move on to some of the other things.
Man, this is to me, this is what I wish was in place back in 2016 when I first got into crypto. I'd have to say that the biggest regret in crypto that I've ever had was selling my tokens, right? I got into Bitcoin and Ethereum 2016. I wrote it up. There was a pretty good wave, and we never seen that before. And I was at the point where I was like, okay, is this just what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen with these tokens, right? These coins. So I did sell them off. I wish I didn't. And nothing like this was in place at the time. And I would have taken a loan, right, and extracted value and held my token. I would still be holding it. So yeah, to me, this is a great way to extract value without having to sell your tokens. It is huge, and that to me, that's my biggest regret in crypto, is selling something that I wish I wouldn't have sold. So to me, this is like a game changer, especially on a new blockchain. Yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. So that's really where it is for me.
Nice, thank you. Yeah, and before we had you on, I asked Jesse to talk about his why, and you just popped in with yours clearly.
Yeah,
that
sure.
the why is that you wish that you would have had this, and so I see. I did a video. I think it's like my second or third most viewed video when I did a little blurb about you guys in Pulse Doge, and was just mentioning a friend of mine that got a bunch of Pulse and was ready to just. He was going to sell it to get PHEX, basically, try to get his stakes. And so he was excited about this because now he doesn't have to sell it on the price. He's not selling all his Pulse. So, it's like the selling down your own bags to do this. And I think that that's super, that's super exciting. What, no gracias, amigo. Mañana. Okay. This kid's a hustler. Tries to sell me empanadas every day. Mañana, don't give up. Don't give up. Every day he says mañana, and I say, okay, see you tomorrow.
That's great.
So, like, you guys have fielded a lot of questions, and I know that you are. There's a lot of you. Every time I look at your Telegram chat, it's filled with hundreds of back and forth, and so you guys are getting a lot of questions. What is what things are sticking out for you in terms of people's general excitement about it? I mean, everyone has questions about things, but what do you see people excited about?
Well, there's certainly advantages to taking a loan. For one, loans typically aren't taxed. All right, so when you have an option to go to Uniswap, everybody needs money, right? When PulseCoin goes up in price, people are going to sell, right? But now people have an option if they don't want to sell and they don't want to dump that price and they don't want to take a huge tax hit because of that capital gains. They don't have to. They simply lock up some value and they take a loan, right? You have that option with a house. You have that option with your cars. Now you have that option with crypto. You do have that option in some other protocols that are done a little bit differently. Some have counterparty risks. Some has some other flaws. Now you have that option to do that with your Pulse, which we all hope and expect to some degree will go up in value, even significantly, right? So why would you ever want to sell an appreciating asset when you can just collateralize against it, right? Let me give you an example. When you own a home, your home goes up in value. Homes go up in value over time. Does that mean when it 2x's, you say, oh, I'm going to sell my house? And then you get some, you take that value.
It's laughable when you put it that way, because of course not.
And then you take that money and then you go buy another house, but you're right back to where you started from, right? All you did is trade houses. In crypto, it's the same way, right? Your crypto goes up in value and you say, well, I want to sell it. And you take that money. Now you can go buy the things you want to buy with it, or you just put it into a different crypto. It's ridiculous. With your house, the smart thing to do would be it goes up in value, extract some value out of that and go buy a second house. Put the first house to work for you. Maybe rent it out, turn it into an Airbnb or something of the sort. And now you have two houses. Okay. And as each one goes up in value, you can do that again and again and again. And this is how the smartest people in real estate and the smartest finance, the smartest people in finance just keep accumulating things over and over and over off of the value of the things that they already have. And all of this is tax advantaged as they're doing this. Right. So we can now do that with crypto, with PulseCoin as well.
It's awesome. ToshiFlo, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's funny, we in starting this protocol, we actually I won't say names. We've been approached by a couple large real estate companies that have been looking at different protocols, looking at stable coins. I think we're at the point where this protocol could possibly bridge that gap for for people that want to purchase properties or purchase homes, right? Or whether it be commercial or residential. But they're looking at, real estate companies are looking at this and saying, wow, a lot of them I talked to, they were looking at Bitcoin. And you just don't know what Bitcoin's going to do, right? Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? We don't know, right? So right now it's doing well, but it's not always going to be like that. But they like the stable coin because it gives them its stability and what what an investor would be giving them. So they're excited about this, and it could really open up the door for investors to diversify their portfolios that are in crypto, to be able to move into real estate. And not only are they excited about offering properties to decentralized finance investors, but they're also excited about taking their customers and bringing them into the protocol to then use the protocol to take a loan to purchase properties from them as well. So it's pretty cool, because when you hand over paper, right, or you take a loan, you're either going to get the interest, right, or the money just goes out of your account. You don't have an opportunity if, it's not like if the dollar goes up, you have that opportunity to go buy another property from that dollar, right?
Right.
Let me add to that for a second.
Please.
A lot of us are pretty hardcore into crypto, but we still need things, right? Maybe you still want to buy a house, and it's silly because you can go to a bank and say, "Hey, I need a $500,000 mortgage, please." And you fill out all the paperwork, and they say, "Okay, put down a down payment." Now your option is, well, you can go sell your crypto and put down a down payment, or there's options. You can collateralize other properties, but nobody wants to do that. Who wants to sell their crypto to take a loan from a bank, and then all the fees, all this money? Look at the amortization schedule. How many multiple times over you're paying a bank when you take a loan through a bank? Or they just simply look at, you can show them your crypto assets and say, well, they say, what's your net worth? And you say, well, I've got however many millions here, and they laugh at you because it's crypto and they don't understand it.
Right.
So now you say, okay, forget the bank. I'd like to go buy a house. I have all this money in crypto. And maybe you even have other cryptos besides PulseCoin, by the way. Maybe we have people here who are in Cardano, who are in Ethereum, all these different token projects. And they say, you know what, I'd like to buy a house. How can I do that? Well, it's very simple. Go buy PulseCoin and lock it up and get a loan. Straight from the protocol. Take that money and go buy the house. That's simple.
Makes perfect sense. And I see someone in the chat asking about, Magic Carpet Ride says, will we be able to put our HEX stakes up as collateral?
So we have looked at HEX. There's a lot of things that have to be considered when you're deciding what asset can be collateralized. HEX has a dynamic tokenomic structure to it already. So part of that, you really have to do like a little mini economic study and say, how will this protocol affect the staking class? Will it lessen the dumps? Right, we just saw Hex go from what 51 or 52 cents. Now it's 28 or 29 cents. If this protocol was in place, would that have been prevented? Right, and what would, is this good for the community or not? We haven't decided if this will ever be available for Hex yet. It's not off the table.
Yeah.
But one thing is certain, though. You cannot do this with just any random token, because there are tokens that have admin keys. There are tokens that have inflation or deflationary features to them that could really put people into liquidation risks that, outside of this protocol, you don't want to introduce any liquidation risks because the token protocol has some features that don't work well with this protocol.
Yeah, and by the way, I appreciate you guys being taking this sort of one step at a time, because I'm sure you guys think about this all the time, and so you have this bigger vision of what's possible there. By the way, Magic Cartwright, I think the other thing, what might need to be taken into consideration even before that is like encapsulated stakes. So you could then take a single stake and collateralize that, but that just sounds, that sounds down the road. I've heard you guys talk more about about just furthering the education, and I'll even call it strategy process for how people should look at this. One of the things when I look at what you're offering, and I see it's the 110%. And I don't know, just whatever you guys are able to comment on, but what would you guys say is like a good strategy for 110% with the way things can go? Seems a little bit sketchy. Like you could get liquidated pretty quickly. What are you guys seeing maybe in the market, or what are you recommending to friends and family that they should look at in terms of their ratios? What's healthy?
Well, the system is going to maintain a minimum average of 150%. It's not going to allow for the majority of people to have less than 150% collateralization level. There's actually certain things that will prevent them from doing, such as taking a loan at 110% if the average of all the borrowers is less than 150, right? So it steers people towards a safe collateralization level. The average that you see across the other blockchains is typically 300%. Okay. And you see people with 1,000, 2,000, 5,000% collateralization level. There's two schools of thought here. If you'd like to keep your Pulse coin, collateralize at a safe level, 300, 400, 500%. If you're just looking for a way out without having to dump the price on yourself and everybody else, well, maybe you're willing to go under 150 for a chance that you'll keep your Pulse coin. But if you lose it, it's okay, because you got your value up front anyway. You already got all the money on the front end. And at that point, it simply is a transfer of value from you to the stability providers without ever dumping the price down.
Yeah, and by the way, I want to make note of that, because if you're watching or listening to any of these guys and you sacrifice for PulseChain, this project benefits you even if you don't use liquid loans. You guys are going to be helping people not sell Pulse when it comes out to make other moves that previously had plans to do so. And so, as far as I'm concerned, whether I'm a liquid loans user or not, I'm bullish on this project, because I can see people excited about not having to sell their Pulse, not having to sell down the price. And so, to me, that deserves the microphone to have a discussion about it. Period. Because we're all in this to pump PulseChain. And right. ToshiFlo, I was telling Jesse, I said at the beginning of this, like there's a lot of things going on. The ERC20 airdrops it's great. It's genius, but this isn't going to be a cakewalk. Like, we need to do everything we can to promote adoption. In fact, I have conversations with a friend about this, like looking at the categories, like why is there someone not talking about gaming? Why are we not talking, like we should be tagging all of the categories. If you're looking at business development, strategic partnerships, in a software company, you would just start, you would just hit your list and start going down the list of what those things are. That'll happen whenever it happens. But what you guys are doing in DeFi, and I think I tweeted this out right after I listened. I was just like, banks aren't going to go down without a fight. But this is it. I mean, why on earth, if you had this option, would you ever take money from a bank? Ever? I don't see it. I just don't see that being a possibility for someone that's into crypto. And
Let me add to that.
Yeah, sure.
Why on earth would you sell your crypto when you don't have to? Right? When you can enter into this protocol and get USDL and go spend it however you'd like without dumping the price on yourself. It makes no sense to go dump the price on Uniswap, take a whole bunch of slippage, take a huge tax hit when you have this option available to you. Regardless of which level of collateralization you decide to pick for yourself, when you have the two choices, Uniswap or this, it just makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
also there's a lot of, there's people out there that, sorry to interrupt, that
no, go ahead, man.
Maybe they have assets or capital, and that maybe their credit's bad even, right? That's another thing we haven't really talked about is, there's no credit check here, right? You have the asset, you collateralize it, and it's a couple pushes of a button, versus having to go to a bank and get an approval, things of that nature. Plus, not to mention, there's no interest, no monthly payment. So it just makes sense.
Absolutely. I got a quick question here from PulseChain Prophetess. You will need a good oracle for this project. Which one will the protocol use?
We actually have several oracle solutions already built into the code.
Okay.
And we are in communication with some of the biggest names in oracles who are excited now about PulseChain. And then you have to remember also, Richard's building PulseSwap, and that has price feeds that come out of that as well. Okay. So all this is being worked as we speak. And our code has multiple redundancies in case one of them breaks. And it is helpful for people to understand how some of these oracles work, almost like a node, almost like validators do, where there's multiple computers that are all feeding the information. So it's not like you're pulling a price feed from some kid's basement on his computer,
Understood. Yeah. That makes sense. Let me search for another question here real quick. These guys have been dreaming this for years. Thanks for doing it. Yeah, I mean, so I don't hang out in the PulseChain Telegram. I'm mostly on Twitter. But that was the other thing, is that you guys, people knew you before this, for being helpful. So I think that's another, I guess, feather in your cap, if you will. If you guys don't mind talking about this, because I'm fascinated with stuff like this, but I heard you talk about people trying to game the system in certain ways. Do you guys sit around and try to other people that are trying to break this? Like,
yeah,
I mean, what?
I'll give you one of them. The funniest.
Yeah, please. I want to hear, because I know some people don't want to say it, but I think it's healthy to actually say it, because then you fix it.
Yeah, I mean, the system is it's prepared to handle any of these things. And I always tell people, so I think the one I get a lot is people are like, well, okay, what if I just run a loop and I take a loan, I come back in, I buy more Pulse, right? Take another loan, just keep doing that, right? And just getting that stable coin, and just keep doing it over and over. And you just end up at the end, you just end up with that stable coin, right? It's not good. It's good for the price of Pulse, right? It doesn't hurt Pulse at all, obviously, because you're buying it up, and it doesn't hurt the protocol at all. It can only affect the person that's actually doing that, because if you do get liquidated, you're just stuck with holding a few stable coin, and it doesn't make much sense. So yeah, people have tried to to do this type of thing, and yeah, we don't recommend using the protocol in that type of manner. So, but that's why we do the education. That's, again, Jesse's been helping out in the community for a long time, especially in the PulseChain main chat. That's why we got the Telegram going. We want to educate people, make sure that they aren't going to go in and just wreck themselves and make some stupid mistakes. We want to teach them how to use it the right way, and hold on to their crypto.
Right.
Jess, what are some of the ways that you've heard of a couple? I know.
Yeah. So, just a caveat onto that, though, the system won't let everyone do that. It may let a few people do that, but as I said, there's a fee attached to every loan that kind of fluctuates based on the health of the system, and then also there's some certain things that get locked down if the average falls below 150. You can't fix degenerates, right? You can try and educate them, but if people are going to be degenerate, they're going to do it anyway. We in Hex, we see early end stakers.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
we're not going to. If we fix the degen problem, we've broken crypto.
But just like in Hex, when you have an early end staker who ruins his own bag and it helps the community when he does that, the same thing happens here. You'll have a degenerate. You'll have a handful of them that just buy Pulse up over and over and over with it. And when they get liquidated, they just help the community, because all that Pulse gets distributed to all the providers, and they're left with nothing, right? So they did it to themselves. Now we'll educate them, just like the Hex community educates the Hexers to not early end stake. We're doing the same thing. Don't be a degenerate with this protocol. Use it wisely, just like the bank lets you do when you collateralize your house.
That makes perfect sense, and I appreciate the ongoing education, because there are people. There's so many levels of understanding what is going on in DeFi specifically, and the fact that you guys are doing this without admin keys, no middlemen, I think is genius. I don't know. I haven't done a lot of crypto lending research. I did a quick search, but is there any, this makes you pretty special in terms of what else is out there? Everything else, you got to kind of give it up to. Well, they'll say, yeah, we're secure and everything else, but.
Yeah. Right.
So what's the are there any other key differentiators that you guys can talk about now?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the biggest questions we get from time to time from the smart minds out there is, well, isn't the government trying to regulate crypto lending? I hear there's all sorts of government restrictions coming down the line.
I saw what you're talking about. I think that, excuse my language, that shit's ridiculous.
Now,
sorry.
That is true in the centralized crypto world, all right? And
and sorry, to be clear, what you're saying, I'm not saying it's ridiculous, like it's not happening, but the way that I saw it kind of coming at you guys, I thought was ridiculous. Right. Sorry.
Now, what you see in the centralized world is they're lending and they're leveraging fiat-backed stable coins, all right? There's protocols like True USD, Binance USD, even Circle, they kind of do it on their own. But you can take fiat and literally lock it up and mint stablecoin off of the value of that fiat. This protocol is similar, except that instead of doing it with fiat, you're doing it with, Richard's made up imaginary pulse coin, right?
Right.
So it's not. So this isn't backed by fiat in any way. But with those centralized platforms, it is. It's absolutely backed by fiat. So if something bad happens in their lending protocol, when people are leveraging or people are being liquidated, first off, any sort of leverage trading in most governments has to be highly regulated when it's using fiat. And now you have crypto and these centralized platforms that's doing that. So they have to be regulated, because if something bad happens, those effects go all the way back to not just the individual who took that loan, but it goes back to the prices in the fiat itself. There's a lot of counterparty risks when a central authority of some sort maintains all the money, just like we saw with Binance the other day. Look what happened to the price of Bitcoin. Oops, we stole everyone's money. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Right?
And by
And
the way, I
then
think it was like
next
there
week-
was like 5 other coins as well at around the
Yeah.
same time.
Listen, next week people will have forgotten about it, and the excuse is going to be, "Oh, crypto's volatile. No, it's just volatile. Get over it." And it's
They were on
absolutely
that.
ridiculous.
They were on that like PR damage control immediately. Hey, it's don't blame us. But a bunch of people got freaking wrecked from an algorithm error. Like sorry, it's not cool.
Right.
It's not cool.
When you give your money to a central entity, you're trusting that central entity to do what's right for you with your money. So instead, if you have, like in this protocol, you have some code, you generate your own smart contract. It's your money and it's your agreement between you and that smart contract. There is nobody that can step in and say, you know what, we're going to spend your money wrongfully. The code is God in this scenario. And this is how money is supposed to be. And hopefully someday will eventually be across the world.
I think we're moving that direction. Hex the Ripper says, RH says to replace the banks, we need to replace their products. I mean, it's so true. We have to do this. And so that's why I liked hearing that you guys are doing something like this. Richard Hart took the CDs. We've got that covered with Hex, but there's a lot of other stuff. We've got a lot of products to upend in terms of the banking system, to get on par. By the way, if you don't follow Hex the Ripper, dude's profile updates. I don't know. He works in bars with cute girls. It's I feel like it doesn't matter how many millions he's going to make with Hex or Pulse. He'll probably won't quit his job. Whatever he does looks pretty fun. But so really quickly, I'm going to see if I can find another quick question on here. But I did see someone ask. So while I'm looking for that, someone asked, is there a way to get in at the ground level to get involved now and not have to wait for PulseChain?
To get in,
join
now,
the Telegram.
Yeah, join the Telegram. That's how you get in. That's how you'll hear
t.me/liquid loans. That's where all the announcements will be made there. You're early. Just go into the channel, wait for the announcements. t.me/liquid loans.
Okay, cool.
Sorry.
Well, so anything else you guys want to, I wanted to get questions that were not what had been asked before, because I see you guys are like on a little circuit with these kinds of things. Even when we schedule this thing out, I was like, oh, sweet. Any ask yourself a question with an answer of something that's come up recently, or ToshiFlo, I don't know if you have the ability to share your screen, but do you want to do the quick demo? Did you get that sorted?
The dAPP, I did send it to you. That was the best rendition that I had. Are you able to share that on your screen? I'd love for people to see that. It should be in the DM.
Let me see if I can find it here.
Let's see, question that we would ask. That's a good one.
So how can people, let's say people don't want to take a loan. Let's say there's a guy who's like, well, this is an interesting protocol. What can I do on the other side of the borrowing? I hear there's staking. I hear there's some farming. Speak about that briefly. Go ahead, Toshi.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah, I mean, look,
I can't answer.
I thought you were going to talk about. Yeah, so like you can actually, you can be a liquidity depositor or stability depositor, sorry, and you can farm the loan token, and you also earn Pulse, right, from any liquidations, and then you can actually take those loan tokens on over to the staking pool and stake those loan tokens, and then earn the stable coin, which is the USDL. So,
and you can just buy
if
you'll
I'm
be able to
using
just
this,
buy the loan coin as well, right?
Sure, yeah.
correct.
If somebody's going to create you'll find plenty of liquidity pools. There's going to be people who are part of some sort of genesis drop of these loan tokens, right? Every token project has a group of people. But then also you can farm these things out of the stability pool. It does get harder and harder to farm, by the way. The rate at which you're able to farm them goes.
Oh yeah, it's always the case. It starts off
gets harder
crazy.
and harder because it goes through halving cycles. But that token, you stake it. We love staking, right? Many of us came from the Hex community. Staking is a way to lock something up and have some delayed gratification. In this case, it's a way to lock something up and get a trickle of income for the rest of your life, because there's always going to be people who are taking loans. There's no central authority here. There's no central bank. So where does the fee go? Well, it goes to the stakers. It gets split across proportionally to all the stakers of the loan token. And when we say
I
this
think,
is like a community bank, it really is like a community bank.
Yeah. And I get I think probably the question that I get asked is like, okay, Toshi, how would you use this? How would you use it, right? How are you going to use this? I mean, so I'm going to be really conservative. Personally, I'm going to be really conservative with it. I'm going to over collateralize, but I'm going to factor in, what I'm going to contribute to, the stability pool, right? Because I do want to earn the loan token. I do want to earn that Pulse coin, right? But I also want to be staking. Staking's huge, right? So I want to get in on that early, and I want to be earning that USDL forever. I want to get in on that early. So I'm going to factor in my over collateralization as a whole to be able to contribute to be a stability depositor and stake my loan tokens. So you got to, whatever's comfortable for people, they're going to do. But I'm conservative, but I want to be able to say, okay, if I take a loan and I'm using that stable coin to go do whatever it is I'm doing, whether maybe it's another project, maybe I'm going to go, buy a car, whatever it might be, that loan token is going to be generating stable coin that I could take over and just, I'm over collateralized, but I could take it over and just pay down my loan, right? So that's how I'm going to use it. But again, I think it's wise to factor in your loan according to using this to be a stability depositor and also staking that token as well. You want to put it all together as one. Don't think about it after the fact.
Got its own little ecosystem.
Here's a question everyone asks. Not everyone, but people often ask. So if I take a loan and I collateralize and my collateral level goes up in value, it appreciates. PulseCoin 10x's. Do I have to pay back 10x?
Oh yeah, that's a valid question. Yeah.
No. If you take a $4,000 loan, guess what? The protocol is going to be looking for $4,000 for the stable coin, which there's no repayment terms. There's no interest. So it's your choice when you'd like to pay that back, if you ever do at all.
Got it.
I think a lot of people ask about taxes, and we're not tax advisors. It is worth discussing one point. People say, well, let's say I get this loan, but I have to swap it for something else that Coinbase carries to get my value out back to my bank. Wouldn't I be taxed on all that? Typically, you are taxed on capital gains. So when you're swapping one stable coin that's worth $1 for another stable coin that's also worth $1, there's no capital gains there. In fact, you may have a little bit of a loss if there's some like Uniswap fees or liquidity provider fees that go along with doing that.
You covered. So I saw someone ask something similar to that. We can't get caught back up to it, but that makes perfect sense. Yes, stable to stable, no capital gains is gonna be fine. Crypto Heartbeat, hey man, good to see you. Sensei Dozy, Jeremiah, Renob, Kasid. Just want to say hey to some folks in the chat. Festival Stills, thank you guys for being here. For being here 50 minutes in. So I'm gonna try to do this thing. In order for me to share the GIF, however you want to pronounce it, it's gonna have to take over the whole screen. So I'm gonna be kind of flying blind with it a little bit, but I'll be able to hear you guys. Just let me know. And it's about 30 seconds. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'll get it up. Let me share my screen here. All right, you guys can see my screen. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So my computer is not liking this. It's Friday. It wants a break.
It's all good. We can
It
show
might
it
be.
here if some.
Yeah,
if
let me
somebody
see.
does
Let me
wanna-
see if I can move it a little bit and see if that fixes the. No, it's not helping. Here, let me.
Doesn't want to run.
Yeah, or it's like it's showing up clear here in the little part.
Yeah.
But if I try to make it full screen, it's getting a little grainy. You want to try yours?
Yeah.
I want people to see this because this is like that's what everyone wants to see. Like, okay, yeah, you guys say you're doing something. What do you have? What do you have built? And this is the dAPP
I'd
in
try
action.
it, but I've been having some difficulties on the using the
Okay.
app on my phone, so I'm afraid it'll disconnect
Here's what
me.
we'll do.
But they can check it out. They can.
Yeah, I can post. I'll post it to Twitter, and then I'll put it in the description with this when I upload it, so everyone can see it.
Cool.
Well, I'm trying to. By the way, Twitter has like you can only put so big of a file in Twitter.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm trying to get like a high definition version in there, but when I get that in there, it's probably going to be like 10 seconds. All right.
Okay.
But I'm working on a high definition version.
I have to go fast, and so obviously people should check you out. There's a super active group in Telegram. You mentioned there sort of with a smirk, a Genesis type of situation. Would it be prudent to be in the Telegram group to find out information about that? Or okay.
First off, anybody who wants to know about this protocol, they need to be in the Telegram, right? Like those are the first people to hear about any advancements we've made, any cool features that we're adding into the dAPP. Perhaps there's going to be some Easter eggs in the future that are absolutely going to blow people's minds. I promise.
Yep.
So people need to be in there if they want to be the first to hear about something.
Yeah, there's a lot more we're going to be dropping. We're super excited. Unfortunately, we can't talk about it yet, but it's really exciting. And that's where people got to be. They got to be in the Telegram, and our Telegram's been growing really fast. We're not even live yet, and we have more people on our Telegram than a lot of groups have, and they've been live for months. So
I noticed that not you guys have people. I see
protocols.
other people, not you guys, that are helping get newbies' questions answered. So whatever you guys have been doing to build it, I mean, real crypto communities, not the bots. Like it's not an easy thing. So kudos, for getting for getting that built. And I think it's a testament to you guys just being active in the community before then. But
thanks, man.
I want to add something. It's very likely that the current stable coins that we're familiar with on Ethereum are not going to function correctly on PulseChain for a number of reasons. The oracles are going to be pointing to the wrong addresses, right? It's going to be looking for Ethereum prices when it's running on PulseCoin. And also because of the various way that these stable coins are backed, by fiat.
They could just lock it. They could just say it doesn't. Richard
And
Hart said that himself.
and there's user agreements that even say they will lock them in the event of a fork. So in DAI, we can't even assume that DAI is going to work. But what we can say is launching this natively on the Pulse chain, that this stablecoin is going to work.
It's a bold statement and makes perfect sense. So anything else? We're coming up on about an hour. Appreciate your guys' time. I hope that I asked new questions. I was really excited to just get to know you guys more, you know, and having conversations like this, I think help. I got both of your whys, which was my main thing. If I can get that out of this, it's at the beginning. Is there anything else that you want to tell us about, that you want to say, before we close?
Yeah, we're never selling. We're never selling.
Yeah,
ever.
Get the word out that you don't have to sell. The number one thing that makes the price go down, well, the only thing that makes the price go down is selling. Plain and simple. If you don't sell, the price doesn't go down.
I mean, like I said, about halfway through this thing, even if you don't want to collateralize your Pulse to take out a loan, if you sacrifice for Pulse Chain and you think it's going to be something, why wouldn't you at least be supportive of a project that lets other people do what they want to do without selling down the price? I think that's awesome. So, I mean, man, Jeremiah, these guys can't get a break. Just saying, besides liquid loans, any plans for other products in the future? You gotta love how excited people get about stuff. Like, this thing isn't even live yet. Pulse Chain's not even live. They're asking about the next thing.
So I said there's some Easter eggs that are gonna come out.
Oh, okay. It's a legit question.
So if you look at that video carefully, you'll see that dAPP says version 1 on it. That front end says version 1. There's some big things planned. And we literally can't talk about them. It's going to be amazing. Think about the hardest things to do in crypto. What are some of the hardest things? How do you get in? How do you get out?
Okay. Yeah, I think you just said it loud and clear right there. But I mean, suffice to say, you guys are focused. You guys are focused in DeFi, like anything that you guys touch. I mean, just ToshiFlo, the way that you explained it, like you're talking about like this, its own little ecosystem and the ways that you can function, and really build, continue to build your Pulse, starting with Pulse, just have it continue growing for you through the other tokens, through some of the functions that you have. So, and I know ToshiFlo, you're into the NFT space a little bit, in terms of are you a digital artist?
Yeah. NFT creator. Yeah.
But in terms of what you guys are going to do with your products, it's DeFi.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Liquid loans. Okay. Great. Well, hey guys, I really appreciate your time. Like I said, I will, if Twitter gives problems on the GIF that you share with me, I'll just put it on, I'll add it to my Google Drive. We'll find a way for people to link to it, especially if it has Easter eggs in it. And then Jesse, if you get a different version of it, let me know.
You could just retweet or link our Twitter, Liquid Loans IO.
Yeah, sure.
At Liquid Loans IO. And then again, for everyone, main source of information, Telegram, t.me/liquid loans. You'll have all your questions answered there. And thank you for your time today.
And white papers, everything is up there, guys. So thank you so much for having us on, man.
You bet. So just stick around for a second. I'm going to end the stream and I'll talk to you guys in the green room. Thanks everyone for tuning in, asking your questions, and we hope to see you soon.